To give up, you have to be dead, or completely incapacitated.
Danger zone!
Brace yourself as knowledge is coming.
Knowledge is knowledge, but what is better than Lamborghini? To Lamborghini. But.
Do you want agenda because that is how you not get an agenda?
ccna Part 80. Python Section 10. DevOps aka Operating Systems Chapter 3. Agronoms but Day 25. Cosmos Class 7. Lithuanian trader by nil.
What will you think ccna learn you to do?
But boom but.
Previously on Ready Not to Die Right Now.
ARP Address Resolution Protocol.
And now but.
Single segment ARP example. Let's start by discussing how ARP works on a single segment network, in which everyone exists on a single LAN. So let me show you by talking. We have 3 personal computer. PCA, PCB, PCC. All those PC are connected consistently. So PCA wants to send information directly to PCB. PCA knows PCB IP address, or has DNS resolve it on an IP address. However, it does not know PCB Ethernet MAC address. To resolve, or convert, the IP address to a MAC address, PCA generates an ARP request message. In the ARP request message, the source IP address is 10.1.1.1 and the destination IP address is 255.255.255.255, the broadcast address, which means the data is destined for every device on the network. PCA includes PCB IP address in the data field of the ARP datagram. This is encapsulated into an Ethernet frame, with a source MAC address of 0000.0ccc.1111, PCA MAC address, and a destination MAC address of FFFFFFFFFFF, the local broadcast address, and is then placed on the Ethernet segment. Both PCB and PCC see this frame because it is destined for all systems, a broadcast message. Both devices' network interface cards, NICs, notice the data link layer broadcast address and assume that this frame is for them, since the destination MAC address is a broadcast, so they strip off the Ethernet frame and pass the IP datagram with the ARP request up to the internet layer. Again, there is a broadcast address in the destination IP address field, so both devices' TCP IP stacks will examine the data payload. PCB notices that this is an ARP request, and that this is TS' own IP address in the query, and it therefore respond directly back to PCA with PCB MAC address. PCC, however, sees that this is not an ARP for its own MAC address and ignores the requested datagram broadcast. Important thing that both PCB and PCC will do is add PCA MAC address to their local ARP tables after they have received the initial broadcast message. They do this so that if either device needs to communicate with PCA, neither will have to perform the ARP request as PCA had to do. Entries in the ARP cache table will time out after a period of use of the MAC address. This time period is dependent on the operating system used, but it can typically be changed by the user or administrator. Also, a device can generate a gratuitous ARP, an ARP reply that is generated without a corresponding ARP request. This is commonly used when a device may change its IP address or MAC address and wants to notify all other devices on the segment about the change so that the other devices have the correct information in their local ARP tables.
Next on Ready Not to Die for the ccna. For some long time.
2-segment ARP example.
What the deal with Python? Are they modules or?
Estoy muy emocionado.
Begin your Python journey. How to get Python and how to get to use it. There are several ways to get your own copy of Python 3, depending on the operating system you use. Linux users most probably have Python already installed. This is the most likely scenario, as Python's infrastructure is intensively used by many Linux OS components. For example, some distributors may couple their specific tools together with the system, and many of these tools, like package managers, are often written in Python. Some parts of graphical environments available in the Linux world may use Python, too. If you're a Linux user, open the terminal/console, and type Python 3 at the shell prompt, press enter and wait. If you see something like this. Python 3.4.5, default, Jan 12, 2017, 2:28 and 40 seconds GCC 4.2.1 compatible Clang 3.7.1, tag/release_371/final on Linux. Type help, copyright, credits or license for more information. Then you don't have to do anything else. If Python 3 is absent, then refer to your Linux documentation in order to find out how to use your package manager to download and install a new package. The one you need is named Python 3 or its name begins with that. All non-Linux users can download a copy at https://www.python.org/download/.
One does not simply do DevOps without taking down the production.
Operating system-based virtualization. Operating system-based virtualization refers to an operating system feature in which the kernel enables the existence of various isolated user space instances. The installation of virtualization software also refers to operating system-based virtualization. It is installed over a pre-existing operating system, and that operating system is called the host operating system. In this virtualization, the user installs the virtualization software in the operating system of his system like any other program and utilizes this application to operate and generate various virtual machines. Here, the virtualization software allows direct access to any of the created virtual machines to the user. As the host OS can provide hardware devices with the mandatory support, operating system virtualization may affect compatibility issues of hardware even when the hardware driver is not allocated to the virtualization software. Virtualization software is able to convert hardware IT resources that require unique software for operation into virtualized IT resources. As the host OS is a complete operating system in itself, many OS-based services are available as organizational management and administration tools can be utilized for the virtualization host management. Some major operating system-based services are mentioned below: backup and recovery, security management, integration to directory services. Various major operations of operating system-based virtualization are described below. Hardware capabilities can be employed, such as the network connection and CPU. Connected peripherals with which it can interact, such as webcam, printer, keyboard, or scanners. Data that can be read or written, such as files, folders, and network shares. The operating system may have the capability to allow or deny access to such resources based on which the program requests them and the user account in the context of which it runs. OS may also hide these resources, which leads that when a computer program computes them, they do not appear in the enumeration results. Nevertheless, from a programming perspective, the computer program has interacted with those resources, and the operating system has managed an act of interaction. With operating system virtualization or containerization, it is probable to run programs within containers, to which only parts of these resources are allocated. A program that is expected to perceive the whole computer, once run inside a container, can only see the allocated resources and believes them to be all that is available. Several containers can be formed on each operating system, to each of which a subset of the computer's resources is allocated. Each container may include many computer programs. These programs may run parallel or distinctly, even interrelate with each other. Operating system-based virtualization can raise demands and problems related to performance overhead, such as the host operating system employs CPU, memory, and other hardware IT resources. Hardware-related calls from guest operating systems need to navigate numerous layers to and from the hardware, which shrinkage overall performance. Licenses are frequently essential for host operating systems, in addition to individual licenses for each of their guest operating systems.
If you could stop using unnecessary 24 acronyms, that would be great, son.
Day what? Day 26. RSTP, Rapid Spanning Tree Protocol. RTO, Recovery Time Objective. RTP, Real-Time Protocol. RTSP, Real-Time Streaming Protocol. RTT, Round Trip Time or Real Transfer Time. SA, Security Association. SaaS, Software as a Service. SAN, Storage Area Network. SC, Standard Connector or Subscriber Connector. SCADA, Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition.
There are forces at work in the cosmos that we cannot explain. For example, why do people keep listening to this?